skating when I was
Well,
in the
that was the same.
That's nice. That's pretty. Was it like the strawberry sunset that they talked about? Yeah.
Shoveled up.
All right, it is 4:30. We'd like to
I
begin.
had three pumps going, but
We'd like to begin. As is our custom, we will stand for a moment of silence. And as you stand, I'd like to just take a moment to think about our community, but not only our community, other neighboring communities that have dealt with even worse things than we are dealing with. So in that moment of silence, you can think about that. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if we could have a roll call, please.
Brad Hand. Here. Ken Snyder.
Here.
Pete Hamill.
Here.
Chantal Ostra. Here. Tom Eggers.
Here.
All right, next item up is the approval of the agenda. Take a motion for that.
So moved.
Support.
Any comments? Roll call, please.
Snyder. Hamill.
Aye.
Ostra. Eggers.
Aye.
Ken.
And before we move into the public forum, which is anybody here that would like to address the council, I'd just like to try and set a tone here today. The city has been working very hard. We have employees and fire department, emergency services, people that have put in hours and hours of work over the weekend trying to alleviate water, trying to alleviate the damage wherever we can. So I don't know your situation, any of you here. I know there are many that have dealt with wet basements, damage, and it's a frustrating situation. But I would just like to keep this to be a polite, courteous conversation. So if you're addressing the council, keep those things in mind. If you can't, if you need a break, take a breath, do so. But let's try and do this, work together on this, and not become adversarial with one another. So at this time, anyone wishing to address the council, now is your opportunity. Okay, I see no one, and there are no written comments, so we can then move on into the consent agenda, approve the consent agenda. And I'll take a motion for that.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Ken. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
All right, item number 5, why we are all here. Let's get started. 2024 flood cleanup. First of all, I'd like to begin with an update from you, Todd, if you're ready.
You bet. Sure thing, Mayor. So I'm just going to go down department by department here a little bit, and then I'll pause for questions, I guess, after I get through each department. So we'll start with wastewater. That's obviously where we had our most issues. We had some sewer backups around town, very high flows. So we are still bypass pumping right now. We will be working through the night again tonight. Hopefully that's the last night that we have to pump 24/7. Most of the places that we're still pumping are at reduced rates. There's a couple of them where we still have pumps going full bore, but the system has improved dramatically in the last 12, 18 hours, so good news. Both 6-inch pumps that we got from Homeland Security, one come out of Des Moines, one come out of Ames. Both of those have been shut down. One of them actually went to Cherokee at 6 o'clock this morning. The other one is sitting in front of the plant ready to go. Jared Johnson, I think, is working on its next destination. We were able to move some pumps around and take that one out of service, and we felt like we should get it down the road to another community so it could do somebody else good as soon as possible. Those two pumps were huge. Just so you know, Dean Paulson and I were just having a conversation. You will likely see a request for a 6-inch pump of our own coming up in a future budget. We have 3 4-inch pumps right now and several 3-inch pumps, but those babies move a lot of water in a hurry, so I think it'd be a good investment for us. The plant overall performed very, very well. We fortunately had no issues or areas of concern at the wastewater treatment itself. The plant went into storm mode. It continued to treat as high as 4.9 million gallons a day. That's a big number. We were bypassing obviously much more than that at some points, but we were still discharging quality water, so that's helpful. The North Fifth lift. North Fifth lift went underwater. I think, as you all know, just so you know, we haven't confirmed what the Floyd actually got up to yet, but it's a record. We guarantee you that it's a record by our assumption of at least 6 feet, maybe more. So, anyways, thanks to the help of Thompson, our SCADA integrator, and Bembeek Electric, we do have one pump running in that lift station off of floats, which is not how it typically operates, but at least it's pumping and has very minimal automation. The other pump we can turn on, but we can only turn it on by physically going to the site, turning the switch, waiting, watching, and then turning it back off if we need to. So we are currently not running that pump. By the end of the week, we hope to have enough automation and equipment there to where both pumps will run off of floats one at a time, and then give us the ability to have some basic alarms, high-level alarms, pump failure alarms, those kind of things. And then also the ability to remote access in and turn on pump if one fails or something like that. That is a huge help for us, because if an alarm goes off at 3 a.m., the guys that are on call are actually able to access it from their phone or from an iPad, and you can do something immediately as you go to work, but you get a pump going much quicker. Right now we're operating in the dark with no alarm system. I give authority for Thompson today to actually build a entire new control panel for that lift station. It was about 50% submerged in water. Several of the components are shot. The ones that didn't get submerged might be fine, might not be fine. It's not worth the gamble. They're building us a new panel. They expect that panel to be 30 to 60 days out. So it will be 30 to 60 days before that lift station will run what I'll call normally again. Along with that, the North Fifth has a standby generator. The standby generator's transfer switch was submerged. The generator was partially underwater, but not all the way underwater. We suspect the fuel has been contaminated by water. Quick search by us, it doesn't look like the oil got contaminated. There's a generator company that we've been talking with that's going to come up and hopefully service that, and then we'll let you know what the extent of the damage is. It seems realistic that it could run again with some repairs, but I can't guarantee that just yet. So we'll have to continue to watch and report on that. The NCC lift station, it has a lot of site damage. Water did get into the control building. Fortunately, it only got about 2 inches deep in there, so all the electrical components stayed good. The lift station continued to function and never failed during the event, so that was a huge relief for us. I guess last thing at wastewater is probably that, after the 2018 flooding event, we upgraded a lot of equipment, and we were much better prepared for this event than we were for the 2018 event. We'll evaluate as a team and probably look at more upgrades again, better prepare for the next one. IDNR is aware of all of our bypassing. They're aware of the loss of the lift station through verbal phone calls between me and them. Dean will work on the official reporting next week. We don't anticipate any fines or any issues with the DNR. They understand the situation that we're in, and obviously we're not alone, and there's many places in a much worse condition than us. So with that, I'll call that my wastewater report and pause for questions.
I think the question probably on everybody's mind, and we've addressed it somewhat, I think, with public announcements, but just to reiterate again, if you would, where we're at in terms of water usage, showers, laundry, etc.
Yeah, flows are down substantially. They're still very high, but they're down a long ways from what they were. We are at to the point where we need people to start slowly returning to normal. Some of that is there was a lot of conservation that was done. We can tell that, and we thank everybody for that. But we need them to start getting back to normal and do it slowly so that we can modify and adjust our bypass pumping here. Because if we shut all of our bypass pumping off and then we get these huge surges, then we have a chance for another backup. So over the next 24 hours, if people would slowly go back to normal, that would be just fine.
Normal being, yet not dumping sump water into the sanitary system.
Yeah.
That is
No,
critical.
That
Can't
is very
stress that
critical.
enough.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mayor. That is,
That's not normal.
no, that is not normal. That is something that should not be happening. And looking around town, I see, or we see, a lot of places where there seems to be new hoses going out, running down driveways, running down the curb. We would really appreciate it if those would stay that way. That would help us a lot.
Yes. We don't want to get to a point where we have to enforce it
That's correct.
with fines and such. Okay. Any other questions for Todd?
Okay, water department. All customers have water. That's huge. We have 8 customers. We had initially reported 7. We have 8 customers that are on the boil water advisory. There was another customer that we thought was going to have normal water service, and today we discovered that they did not. So we got a temporary service set up to them today, and they're on the same boil advisory as the other 7. So that boil water advisory for those 8 customers will stay in effect as long as they are on temporary service. Dave and I have discussed. We have taken recommendations from the DNR, and that is our best option. That's the best option for them. It's the best option for the city. So how long that temporary service will be in place, we don't know. We have not had a chance to evaluate the pipe damage at where we assume is the river crossing. The river is back in its banks today. Hopefully it doesn't rain tonight. I see there's a chance. If the river goes down, we hope to charge the section of main that was severed and try to make a determination of what's actually wrong, and then from there we can decide what needs to be done. It could be as simple as a spot repair, and then repressurize, redisinfect, test, and put back in service. It could be as complicated as needing a couple of thousand feet, a new 10-inch water main, and a new boring underneath the river. Dave spoke with some suppliers today. They told us the sooner we can make a decision, the better, because stock is going to be a problem, obviously, with the issues that everybody else is having. So we hope to get on that tomorrow and get a little smarter every day as to what needs to happen. Before I forget, huge thanks to Sheldon Fire, Sheldon EMA, Farmers Market, the surrounding fire departments, and our team for getting that temporary service put up. That was no small feat. Went very quickly, went very well. So most of those customers were ecstatic. They're like, "You're kidding me, we got water already?"
I thought the solution was ingenious. My compliments to all who are involved in that.
Okay, now on to some more bad news. Wellfield, we lost 2 wells to flooding. With that flood level getting 6-7 feet higher than it ever has been before, wells that have not been underwater in well over 100 years were several feet underwater. So as of right now, those 2 wells are turned off. There was a 3rd well that went under as well, but it wasn't one that was currently in service. It was actually slated for decommissioning already, just because it wasn't feasible to run anymore. So the other 2, we have not been able to get to yet. The floodwaters are down by them, but it is a disaster out there. We're going to try to give it another day or 2 to go down. Maybe tomorrow or the next day we can get out there in a payloader or something and just get inside the buildings, see how high the water got, see what the control issues are. The biggest issue with them is going to be whether or not we can get them pumped out. Those 2 wells are collector wells, so they're these great big, like 20 or 25 foot diameter caissons that go down in the ground. So that filled up with flood water instead of groundwater, and with that flood water are contaminants. So obviously we have to pump them out. We'll have to superchlorinate them, and then we'll have to pump the superchlorinated water out and dechlorinate it most likely before it goes out. And then we'll have to test that individual well on site, and it'll have to pass bacteria testing on site before we are allowed to turn them back on. So before we spend a bunch of money on new electrical equipment in those, we'll need to evaluate that process and see if it's even worth the money. In 2018, we had 3 wells that were inundated by floodwaters, and we ultimately ended up decommissioning them because they were never able to pass bacteria testing after the flood event. Part of the problem with the flood event is when it floods, it brings in a lot of sediment, and you get that sediment down into those collector wells, and if you can't get that sediment out, you end up with the issues is what we were told last time by the DNR. So at this point, I guess we're not very optimistic we'll get those wells back. What was it, 100 gallons a minute, Dave? Yeah, so, but with those 2 wells off, we lost 100 gallons a minute. That doesn't seem like a lot of water, but when your shallow water source is limited already, the loss of 100 gallons a minute is critical. I guess it makes your decision to stay on Lewis and Clark even better. So we will evaluate and get back to you with when we know more. The other thing, we were very fortunate. Flood waters actually reached our water treatment plant. I called Dave at 3 a.m. on Saturday, and it was a three-word message: water plant now. There was a foot of water in our garages. Never been close to that. We got 3 pickups out of there. We saved what else we could out of the garages. Our losses were very minimal, but thankfully it never got to a pump room, a filter room, you know, where we actually lost the entire plant for good. So unfortunate water got in it, fortunate that it still functions. So that is my water update for now. Questions?
Yeah.
Tom?
How about our deep well? What conditions are deep, is it the deep well?
Yeah, neither, the oldest deep well, well number 9, had water up to the base of it. I don't think it made it in the door, did it, Dave? Yeah, we don't think it made it in the door there, so it'd be fine. Well 15 is a little further to the south. It was fine. We're currently not using them. They're still commissioned wells. We haven't decommissioned them. We pump them on occasion to make sure that they'll work, and we're not using them now, so we're still okay there. I guess the other scary thing about it that I didn't mention is our clear well. We have a little over 1 million gallon clear well that holds treated water on site, and that thing was about 1.5 feet from having river water go actually through the vent backwards and into that well, or into that clear well. So that would have ruined over 1 million gallons worth of good water. So fortunately it stayed down, or it stayed below that. Anything else for water?
Do we have capacity with Lewis and Clark if we had to do it 100%?
Yeah, we have, our allocation of Lewis and Clark is 1.3 million gallons a day. We're currently selling 200,000 gallons a day to City of Sioux Center, and up to 300,000 gallons a day to Clay Row Water in South Dakota, leaving us 800,000, which is about our average day demand right now. And then of course we're still getting water from our wells.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some cushion. We've also, and we're nowhere near needing to do this, but we also have some outs in our contract that we could get some of that other water back if we needed to. But the other option that we have right now too is Lewis and Clark currently has an abundance of water, so you can purchase more than your allocation as long as it's not having a negative effect on the other 19 members of LNC. Right now there are Lewis and Clark members that buy more water than their allocation every day, and at this point we would be allowed to do the same. The only way that would change is if LNC had a failure, an equipment failure, or flooded. I mean, their wells do sit right on the river, right by Vermilion. I haven't talked to anybody down there, but I'm not aware of any issues that they're having. Yes, Pete?
Is there anything that we can do to protect, assuming we get those wells back online, is there anything we can do to further protect those for the future or not?
I don't know. They're already up on berms, and then their structures are set from there. I don't know that those structures would be easily stackable. You know, Dean and I have talked about at North Fifth Lift Station, we could, if we can purchase some more property, we can potentially move the buildings up the hill, and those structures we could stack more sections on top of to potentially build up and fill in. I'm not sure that would work at one of those wells. But we'll think about it, Pete. We'll think about if there's something we could do. Yeah, I don't know when the next record flood's coming, but the 100-year floods seem to be coming, or coming or exceeded every few years now. It was just 6 short years ago we had the last one.
Anyone else? Okay, let's move on.
Okay, streets. Fortunately, we had minimal damage in the streets. We had some street flooding during the heavy rain events, but then the storm systems took the water away. We had some damage to gravels and alleys and those type of things. The guys started making some of those repairs today. They started cleaning up some of the rock and other debris that got washed out on the paved streets today. We need to get out and evaluate all of the stormwater discharges. Lyle, I don't think you've been to all of them yet, have you? Oh, you have? We're good? Yeah. Apparently we don't have much damage on our stormwater discharges, so that's good news. We have lots of barricades out along the temporary service line. We got the trails barricaded off. We loaned out some barricades to Sioux County when the 330th River Bridge road fell in, so we got some class 3s down there. The street guys helped with a lot of the bypass pumping and whatnot, but their department itself is in good condition. So they did get out on the trails today and made a real quick evaluation that we'll have a lot of repairs on trails at some point, a lot of cleanup work to do at trails on some point. Obviously there's other things that are carrying higher priorities right now, but as we are able to assess those damages, we're not, apparently the pylons for the trail bridge that goes over the river appear to be in good condition, but we'll need to take a closer look at some of that stuff. I know there were some plug culverts and some trail sections that are washed out and so on and so forth. So that's all I have for streets, unless you have questions. Last thing I got is just a thank you to my team. They kicked butt. They did a good job. And also a thank you to all of our emergency services and contractors that helped us out. Everybody is top notch, so much appreciated. That's all I have.
Thanks a lot.
Any further comments from the council? Or questions? Okay. Thank you, Todd. And again, those of you that are department heads that are here, extend our thanks to all of your personnel as well. We are in a, could have been a lot worse spot without the dedicated efforts of all of you, so thank you, thank you. All right, Wayne, update from emergency management.
Well, as you know, it was quite the weekend, because not only did we have the intense rain and flooding, we also dealt with another small-scale tornadic event that affected the area between Country Club and Larkspur Way, and unfortunately also did some more damage to Southwest RV, who did not need any of that. So we've been busy all weekend helping out with some of that stuff, and then transitioning into Saturday, where we were in more kind of a triage mode. Sam and I kind of sat here at in his office as a command post, and were able to disseminate information. And I you know, one thing that you always wonder about, and I remember from my time on the council that whenever we talk about water and limiting water and conserving and doing all this stuff voluntarily, a lot of people are just like, yeah, whatever. I am just so pleased at how our community reacted. Not only our community, but there were several businesses that were impacted and who voluntarily chose. We asked, and they voluntarily complied with conservation methods and with several kitchen type businesses closing because, you know, they can't wash their hands, they can't wash the dishes. They decided, no, we're not going to do that. Also want to thank AGP. They ceased operations, or at least brought it down to like a bare minimum, just to keep their equipment running that needs to run in order to still keep going. So you talk about what it's like to have a small town and to really feel that sense of community. We really felt that this weekend. So I just want to thank everyone for that. We have had a lot of reports, and a lot of reports of basement flooding, some that are getting even worse. Then now you're starting to see around the community that we're starting to get some stockpiling of debris, and I know that's a lot of what your task is for today. But yeah, we were able to also assist on Sunday with getting that temporary line laid, and that was, talk about a great collaborative effort. Every department and as well as a lot of visiting departments all working together in tandem. That was a really cool thing, not only to execute, but just to see in general. So very pleased with that. Looking ahead, as far as what we're looking for in terms of relief, we do have a declaration from the state of Iowa about the disaster. That does open the door to some possibilities for some reimbursement or grant activity. The only unfortunate thing is that it is going to be income specific, so there are income thresholds that need to be met in order to be eligible for some of these grants. And I'm disappointed that we haven't heard anything yet from FEMA. We were hoping we would hear from them yesterday already. Governor Reynolds, of course, had an emergency proclamation that sent off to the White House, and so far we've not heard anything about that. So I guess we're going to try and keep our fingers crossed on that. The only thing is I don't know how much relief that will bring to just your standard citizen's home that gets sustains damage. Now, obviously, we have turned out a lot better than maybe some of the communities that surround us, so we thank God for that. But we still there's still going to be quite the cleanup effort to come. So we just every day we just try to move a little bit further forward, and I'll stand by for questions if you have any.
Anybody?
That's what happens when you're long-winded. Thank you.
I understand you were on with interviewing with Fox News this morning.
Yeah, I had a short interview. It was a Fox Weather Channel.
Okay.
And got to talk a little bit about what we went through. We also shared some drone video footage that O'Brien County Emergency Management Director Jared Johnson had taken to the area. And just basically, you know, that it's national media, so they're like, oh, so what's going to happen to the corn? Like, well, yeah, that ship sailed a long time ago. Like, we're talking about houses now. The farmers have had their run of bad luck way before this experience happened. So it was interesting. I don't know, it was 4 or 5 minutes of me pretending to, yes, you bet, yes, sir, yeah. And, it was fun, and I'm okay with moving on now.
Thank you for your work and for representing Sheldon this morning.
Absolutely, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Update from other departments. Angie, I'm going to start with you today, if you have anything.
I don't.
Okay. Tanya, anything from you?
Thank you to all of the city employees and everybody in the city with all of their efforts. I just want to say that the Sheldon Chamber and Development Corp is open to continue being a resource to the city and to the community members as well. I have been in communication with other economic development partners in the Northwest Iowa region. Even though things are very slowly looking better, there is still hope for further resources, and so we have extended our hand of support to them as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Any questions for Tanya? All right, very good. Chief Birch, you here? Yeah, anything from you today?
No, just want to thank the city crews that worked overnight this weekend. I probably bugged them a little too much trying to stay awake. They were out and about, so I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, okay, that, any other department heads that want to address anything that hasn't been covered already?
Get a report for the fire department.
Okay,
Want
yes,
me to?
you bet. Let's hear it.
Go up there or here?
You can do from there.
Okay. Fire department, had a busy day. We started like, I think a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. We had 6 911 calls, 1 boat rescue of 3 citizens and 2 pets, 2 stranded motorists that got stuck in water with their vehicles, 1050 PI, accident with injuries. We had 2 basements filled with smoke caused by flooding. Our engines, our engine 1 pumped for about close to 13 hours of continuous pumping. The tanker did about 12 and a half hours. Personnel had about 70 man hours of labor doing that, and we estimated we pumped about 1.2 million gallons of water from those 2 locations. On Saturday morning, in the afternoon, we worked with Todd and Chuck on the water main lay. We laid 2,800 feet of 5-inch LDH hose, our supply hose, from McKinley fire hydrant up McKinley behind the motel and then over to the farm place. We were helped tremendously by the 4 neighboring communities that supplied 1,600 feet of that hose. Boyden, Ashton, Hospers, and Sanborn. Both Hospers and Sanborn brought personnel over to help us with that. So we do have plenty of hose on our trucks. So we are ready for, if we need it, for a natural fire. This morning I did order 2,800 feet of that hose to replace it. So we don't know the longevity, or the manufacturers aren't giving us any type of guideline using it like this for 24 hours a day. They said it's more recommended for a temporary use, and also we're not sure what the sun will do it in that, and you know, it could also potentially have a break in it. So we've got that. Yeah, so yeah, the other thing is I want to thank my 2 assistant chiefs. Chuck Ball, he was with me pretty much most of the day from 2 o'clock in the morning till about 10 o'clock that night. Coming up with a plan. I left him a couple times because I had to do some runs for the store, quick trips. But I want to thank those 2, and then Scott Rudin, he was back and forth. When he wasn't with the city, he was with us. So I want to thank my whole department. We had a lot of members that stepped up and even came with the flooded basement. They left that and they helped the rest of the citizens. So I want to thank those members. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Anyone from the council?
It's something you don't think about. These guys are out there, and their own houses have problems, and I'm sure they're worried about their places, and yet they're still out there. So I thought about that the other day while I was down on my knees digging water, and I'm thinking, these guys are out there, and their homes are probably bad, if not worse. So that's a good thought there, Brad, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, in the midst of a lot of gloom and doom, there have been bright spots. You mentioned one of the neighbors helping neighbors, neighboring communities, assisting in that way. And that's been rewarding to see that happening, the way this community and neighboring communities have pulled together through all this to make life better as quickly as we can. So,
And a couple other communities that if we needed more hose, they were willing to pitch in.
so. Okay. If there are no further questions for Brad, then I'd like to move on to further discussion and direction, including, first of all, the 10-inch water main on the west side. That, I think we pretty much covered, haven't we? Is there further discussion required at this time regarding that?
No, I mean, that'll become later. We don't know what the solution is yet.
Yeah.
We don't know what the extent of the problem is yet.
Okay. So then the big item, really, I think probably what many of you are here for too, is about debris cleanup, and then we'll follow that with tree and limb cleanup. So let's start with the debris cleanup, where we are at, what things we are considering. Sam, are you ready to address that?
I am. If you don't mind, I've got the tree and limb cleanup first.
Okay.
Since
Yep, go ahead.
that's the easier one. So if all of you could, if you're looking on your phones, if you go to, or iPads, you go to sheldoniowa.gov, I have the whole agenda linked out there with the attachments and the memos. Under 5A, there's a memo called explanation right underneath attachments. If you could click on explanation, and I've laid it out there. So we just talked about the 10-inch water lines. Now we're up to talking about the tree limb removal. Tree dump north of town is closed. ID Excavating is taking limbs and trees now. No garbage or other debris on Western Avenue. And then I've got a link there with the map. Is that being used? Has anybody been by that? Is it? Okay. Great. Is that going well? Yeah. Okay, excellent. I want to just thank Matt Dykstra and ID Excavating for doing that. That's pretty impressive. It helps him too, obviously, but it helps us way more than it helps him, so we're very thankful. So the policy question is, do you want to provide curbside tree/limb cleanup? We still have regular cleanup week in September, and per city code and time permitting, we would still address the dead, dying, and diseased in the right-of-way. Todd, do you have any recommendations before we start discussing this one?
Might not be a very popular opinion, but I don't think that citywide tree cleanup is necessary for this storm. There's a few on Country Club Road that are down, and I believe there's already a solution in place for those. I don't think there's that many other trees down in town. My preference would be to not do that if we can.
So in effect, Todd, you feel that we've already got a plan for what we understand is the tree damage from the weekend's event?
Yeah, there's a contractor called Lyle today and said that they were doing some other work in the area and that they were going to pick up those trees and haul them away.
Okay. And the residents all know that?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not at this
Probably
point.
not.
That just broke this afternoon.
Okay. So it sounds to me as if we can explain to the residents that it's going to be taken care of. We've got the tree issue already taken care of. So.
Based on the information we currently have and what's been told us, they will take care of the trees on Country Club Road. And that seems to be really the only place that it was serious damage, serious tree damage.
That's all I'm aware of, unless there's something that I don't know about.
So will that be a bill then that will come to the city?
It's my understanding it was just they were going to take care of it.
Okay. We should just clarify that, and if there's a cost, then we just need to document that, because then that could be a potential FEMA reimbursed item. But there's a sample procurement policy on the agenda from 2018. We don't have the new one since the rules are different each time, and that's usually provided by FEMA. But whenever we do that, we should just clarify if there's a cost, and if there is one, get documentation in a text or an email or a written form. So
Typically,
great
Sam,
job on that. Thank
yeah.
you.
Typically, Sam, too, there's some flexibility on that procurement procedure in these emergency situations.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good news. Now let's move on to the debris.
Okay, so, go ahead, would you like me to?
Yes, please.
Okay. Policy questions, do you want to provide curbside pickup? I sent out requests for proposals to 5 local vendors. I received your text, Todd, on the 6th. I have linked that RFP that I sent out on Saturday to the agenda, so if anybody else knows of anybody else that would want to submit a quote. I only received 1 response, and they weren't able to help, partly because they lack the tarps for covered loads, which is an issue for them. So anyway, the question is, do you want to provide curbside pickup? Let me keep going here before we talk about that. If you do curbside pickup, we would need to discuss logistics, deadline, et cetera. Attached is a draft form, which I didn't spend a whole lot of time on today, but it's linked as an FYI. Mark Gertler with DeCrife Disposal has 2 of the 6-foot tall, the biggest ones, roll-off dumpsters available in case we designate a central location. He doesn't have space at his, where are you, Mark? Oh, he doesn't have space at his shop, and we had talked about putting them down here, but if I've been in conversations with Iowa Homeland Security and Red Cross, they both may be using our building. Tanya was over today, and there's people looking for places to cool off, and this is a good place to come during the day. And so we really don't want to have the dumpsters and the nails and the smell in our parking lot, especially with emergency services and everything right here. So that's something that we're going to have to address. Landfill hours have been extended into the early morning hours. In talking to Brent Cash, they're working on changing to how things are dumped so that if you go out there with a pickup load, you're not competing with a big truck, and that's in progress. So they're helping out a great deal with that change. So I guess back to A, what would you have to decide, you have to really decide is do you want to do central or curbside or both or none?
I have a question for Todd. Your guys' workload, when will that slow down?
Not anytime soon.
And those are the same guys that are gonna be doing the cleanup.
Yeah.
So I would say if the city's gonna pick it up, it's gonna have to be a few weeks out. Just because those guys are water, sewer, stuff that, gotta get the infrastructure rebuilt.
It would be our preference to not do it. We looked back, Lyle and I were talking about this earlier today. In 2018, we did do curbside pickup with our staff. It took us a month. That's a lot of people. The other thing, and I know we don't know if we're getting FEMA reimbursement or not, but if we do it with our team and reimbursement comes along, we can get reimbursed for overtime hours, but not regular time hours, and we can get reimbursed for some of our equipment. If we hold a contractor, have a contractor do it, and we happen to get FEMA reimbursement, the entire cost is reimbursable. I know it's not always all about cost, but when we pick the stuff up and it's this time the landfill is going to be open extended hours, so that helps. But when you can only dump the stuff off between 8A and 4P, you really can't work much extra, because once you fill your trucks up after 4 o'clock, they have to sit there until 8 a.m. the next morning. So the 6:30 would help this time, and maybe reduce our time some, but we also think there's a lot more stuff on the curb this time. 2013, when we had the ice storm, city forces picked up all the stuff too. That took us like 2 months. Well, that's 2 months that we're not getting other stuff done too. It's, I just think we're better off, if we're gonna pick it up off curbs, our preference would be a contractor. But if you tell us to pick it up, obviously, we'll pick it up.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from council?
I would say that curbside's got to be an option, because there's citizens in this town that can't haul the amount of trash that's coming out of their basements personally to any central site. I think that the contractor is the way to go so that it gets done, because that's the first thing is the citizen wants to know that that we'll pick it up, that we'll take care of it. Two is they want to know when. And so I think that we have to determine today as best we can. If a contractor can be brought in here within the next 3-4 weeks to really address this, then, and we agree as a council to go ahead with the curbside, I think that is our plan A. If there's a plan B for a central site, if that makes sense for some people, they might opt out to do that just to get rid of it off their property quicker. And therefore, that would give them an option to do that for those who have the ability and the resources to do that. But there is, I agree, from just in my area of town on the north side, there's some large piles of debris that are coming out of these basements. And can you imagine trying to move that twice? And I think they're looking for help with that. So that's my position.
There were 6 requests, 6 companies contacted, is that correct, for excavation crews and such? Or 5, well, how many was it?
I think it was 5, and they did it on Saturday afternoon.
So the timing is such, I mean, they've had really in effect less than 24 hours if you take out Saturday and Sunday to respond. We did get one response saying they couldn't do it because of covered load requirements.
I just got a text from a contractor that said they'd be willing to provide us a quote, sitting here at the meeting.
Okay.
So Todd, if I might.
Yes.
So, just thinking out loud here, so Mark and DeCrife Disposal have 2 of the big dumpsters available. And they're holding those for us until after the meeting. If we say no to them, they'll be gone in 5 minutes. So we could say yes to those, but where would we put those? Because if we put them there and advertised, please help out everybody by bringing this if you can, I think that would really be helpful, especially when we see how well people have cooperated in disconnecting their sumps and helping with water usage. I think they'll fill up pretty quick. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should absolutely take advantage of that. And Lyle and I spoke earlier about the same thing, and we both think that the asphalt parking on the east side of the city park would be a good central location for people to bring stuff to. It's easy to describe. Everybody knows where City Park is. It's kind of centrally located in the town. It's out of the way. That was our suggestion.
I think that if you do that, I think the big thing is the citizens got to remember, when it's full, it's full.
Yeah.
Don't pile it up beside it, because then you defeat the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, if we did that, how often could you dump it if it filled up?
I can dump it every day.
Once a day?
Or twice if you need it. Some days I can do it twice. So I kind of keep an eye on it, drive by there every once in a while. So.
I also think that there's volunteer groups that are willing to help with pickup, and so I think if we had a place for them to go out and dump it, that would be a good thing, so
How tall are these dumpsters? 6 foot?
Yeah, maybe 6 foot, just a little bit over.
Is there a walk-on from the back, the door?
Open up the back, you can walk the stuff in, but.
See, that's the challenge with a 6-foot box, is getting up
getting it over.
and over. I mean, they can go there, but they gotta, they can walk it in, but they hold a lot, but they're also gonna be difficult to load.
Well, I don't know if anyone's tried to lift up wet carpet, but
Yes, I have.
you'll understand real quick, you ain't gonna be throwing it over your head. So you want to drag it in someplace. So.
I saw, is this the ones that are sitting on the north side of the building by you today? I know I drove by there today. Those things are gonna fill up in no time, I have a feeling, if we start doing that. And if so,
That's good.
which is
Good.
good, yes, yes. But it could be waiting for the, they may be in line, waiting till the dumpster comes back from dump number one to load it up again. It's gonna be, and I have visions of what happens when the recycle bin got full out here and it starts to spill out into the parking lot. You make a key point there. It has, if it's full, it's full.
You probably don't want people throwing refrigerators in them either.
Absolutely not.
So that's,
Keep in mind, though, I do believe that the first message from our council needs to be is that we will contract curbside pickup. So people have the confidence to know that we'll get there and we'll get them a schedule of when that'll happen. From that point, from that understanding, then they'll start to think about whether or not they want to live with that and then go to a central place. So I would not start at the central as being the first message. The first message needs to be curbside pickup. Plan B, the overflow is for this for these central location.
okay, if I might. Yep. So now that we have at least 2 more vendors that are interested, we can extend the RF, it's informal anyway. I'll keep collecting the quotes with Angie internally, and then hopefully by the July 10 meeting, we'll have more information. And we may end up using multiple contractors. We're in an emergency. We don't have to have an exclusive process. There's probably plenty of work to go around.
Can we speed that process up?
Well, as soon as I get some,
As soon as you get some quotes in the next few days?
yeah, I think, well, we have,
I think we have another special meeting, and we approve a contract.
Right.
And get it done. 'Cause I don't want to wait
Yeah.
till
July 10th.
I
no,
know there's a holiday in there, but
yeah.
if we have to make a special
Okay.
meeting before the holiday, we can take the time to have a meeting
Yes.
before, on, or after the holiday.
Is Micah, are you still with us? Micah?
Yes, I am.
So, if you heard the conversation we're talking about the RFP, and since we're under an emergency, it seems that once we get the responses, we can make, since the executive proclamation that was made the other day is still in effect, we just simply need to reauthorize that, this time with the mayor's signature, since he was out of town for just a few hours when this first all started, that he would have the ability then to just do this or authorize it, and then we would report back to the next meeting. That way we don't need another special meeting. Your thoughts?
Are you talking about to approve any contract with a hauler or
Yeah,
garbage pickup?
Yeah, to approve a quote with the hauler. I mean, I've got the RFP linked. It's a very simple one.
Well, between the action you can take today to pre-authorize plus the emergency power, that should cover your bases.
Okay, so you would suggest a motion to pre-authorize the curbside pickup and authorize the acquisition of renting the 2 large roll-off dumpsters and placing them on the west side of City Park. West side, right, or east side?
I think it said east side.
You were thinking east, okay.
Okay. Council can certainly take that action if it so desires.
So,
With his recommendations, I'll make a motion to approve the authority to the mayor to approve contracts and get the debris removal process started and just move it forward.
Support.
Only clarification I'd add to that motion is that it's for curbside pickup and an expedited schedule.
Yes. I will make curbside pickup and move it along as fast as we can.
And we're including the 2 dumpsters.
And the 2 dumpsters.
Yeah.
One more little thing, but could be a big thing in terms of the haulers, the contractors. I heard one of them mention picking it up off the grass versus a hard surface. Hard surface would be much easier with a skid loader.
You know, if they dig up their lawns, do they want their debris removed or do they want a flush lawn? We can't help if they dig up their lawn.
Okay.
So
Good.
that's on the homeowner, and I think if you want your debris removed, if they damage your grass, too bad.
If you don't want it damaged, put it on the sidewalk.
Then haul it
not
up
on the
yourself.
Or the driveway, I should say.
Take it there yourself.
Or that, yes.
So that's what I would say. We are not responsible for damages to properties on the curb line.
Okay.
Are we still looking for a central location as well as this? Or
The park would be the central location.
still both of them together?
The east side of the park, the asphalt on the
My only
east
concern
side.
with that, have you ever seen people load dumpsters? They're gonna take the easiest part, Mark will tell you that, they'll dump it right in front of the door. Is there any way we can,
Put them in that parking area. where
but
the
they'll
shelter
just
house is.
dump it in the easiest way they can? I do have a problem with that, because I've seen how people just kinda throw it.
We can
way to
do this.
control
If this is gonna be a lot better than last time with what, decisions you guys look like you're gonna make, so we could offer this. If Mark's gonna put them there on the east side of the park, and he's gonna monitor them, we could also try to monitor them, have a payloader available once in a while, and if we have to pick up some carpet with the clam bucket or something and throw it in the dumpster on occasion, then we do that. I can't guarantee that there'll be a payloader there 12 hours a day, but we can get it there some. If that helps the situation, that reduces our workload substantially.
Perfect
That's gonna be
solution.
my next question. Sure.
You'll live with that, won't you, Lyle?
And I would say if it becomes a situation where people are abusing it and not cooperating, not being careful with it, we shut it down.
Yep.
So with that, if you're willing to allow that into the motion.
Another thing, did you guys ever ask about ID about doing curbside pickup? About them coming around picking it up, get a quote from them? ID activated?
I sent them, I did send it to them, yes.
They were one of the,
They have a big, trailer that they can dump a lot of stuff in. If they come to Devco every once in a while, we get all of our pallets and
yeah.
wood and stuff that we normally throw away, they come and get it.
If you would, please, could you come and address the, speak to the microphone so that, because this is televised, and then state your name for the record as well.
ID does have a big trailer.
First, I'll start with your name.
Tim Clapp.
Okay, thank you.
ID does have a big trailer. Maybe they could try to help out with it and see if they can go around picking up stuff too.
ID was contacted as one for a
Okay.
proposal.
I didn't
Yeah,
hear
no,
that part.
They were
but-
one of the ones in addition to 4 others.
Okay, yeah,
and
because
so,
I know they have a big truck, or yeah, big trucks.
a
and-
roll-off, or a dumpster, side dump.
Well, they have side dumps too, but they have a big, Gale trailer, it's called.
Okay,
It's a big old box trailer.
so,
They go around to local businesses and picks up pallets and stuff too, so.
yeah, so.
That is a good idea. Hopefully, maybe they get back to you guys about it too. And like another reason too, with people getting their yards damaged. If it gets damaged, it's not, if they want it picked up, they're just gonna have to live with it.
Yep.
And with like the dumpsters too, that's gonna if it gets abused, shut it down. And then they're gonna have to take it to the landfill themselves.
Yep.
That's maybe put that in the memo too.
Yep,
If it starts getting abused, they're gonna shut it down and you're gonna take care of it yourself.
yep. Because we've seen that happen in tree dump, the leaf dump.
Yep.
It-
Out here with the recycling,
Yep, exactly.
so.
Very good. Thanks, Tim.
If I might?
Yes.
So, just so we're on the same page, what I'm hearing out of this conversation, this part hasn't been talked about yet, is that we're skipping the signups. We're just gonna trust that people are putting only flood damaged items out. We've got another cleanup week coming where signup starts in just over a month, and that's gonna happen in September. But then we can just skip the whole sign-up process, because I had attached a draft form. Then our overwhelming...
agree with that, sir. I agree
Agree?
with that.
I
Okay.
agree, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
I think pretty much 90% of the town.
Okay. What about appliances?
Landfill won't take them, they'll charge you for them.
Okay, so no appliances
I
then?
would say no appliances.
Can I address something else?
Yes, please, step forward.
You can get a hold of Post Equipment out of Hall or over by Rock Valley area, or Bonus Grove Salvage over by Hall. They do take appliances. They will dump a dumpster somewhere if needed, and you guys can actually make money off of it too, because they'll cut the check to you guys.
Okay.
So that would help out with taking appliances on top of people picking stuff up, with people dropping appliances off in the dumpster. That would be another thing of helping out with costs of places getting picked up, because you'll get the money off of the old appliances from the junkyard.
I think you would want to check with your
Haulers
haulers.
or contractors? Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say for now, I wouldn't let them dump appliances.
No, I think so too. Everyone in agreement on that part? Because the landfill won't take it without a charge, so.
And a lot of these, you know, you got cleanup week happening very soon, the regular cleanup week, where the appliances could be,
Let's just
Would
say
wait.
at the city park, no appliances.
okay,
And let's figure out if the hauler will take them. If they don't, then we'll contact the other two salvage places. See what we come up there.
Hazardous materials would be another thing. You know, so the things we don't take at cleanup days, we will not take in the dumpsters either. Or at the curb, for that matter. There has to be some kind of guidelines, I think. We have to communicate that.
okay. So I think it's important for Todd and I to understand is that the goal to provide curbside pickup of the appliances. No.
Not at this time.
So no curbside pickup of appliances and no park, city park pickup of appliances right now. Okay?
Unless, like, Post Equipment would want to set a dumpster someplace and collect them that way, maybe. You could explore that, but at this point, with the dumpsters we're talking about in the city park, no appliances.
Or curbside.
I think you make,
Unless your salvage company will.
Okay, okay, I understand it now.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
I think to keep it clear to the citizenship, you tell them that it's two different events. We're doing an emergency project for the flood, and then we'll do the normal pickup when that comes about. Let them know that those are two separate events. And that you can't combine them,
Only flood damaged.
only flood damage.
But you have
Or-
a lot
or
of
wind damage or
appliances
whatever,
that were
so.
damaged by the
Right,
flood,
but
so I
not
just,
excluding appliances.
Yep.
okay. So appliances, no right now. We'll keep looking for options. But-
Yep.
But in the
Okay.
immediate, no appliances.
Okay. I got it.
Okay. So with all that, can we have a read of the motion?
I'm gonna try my best. So,
Any of the above.
approving the mayor to approve contracts for curbside pickup, and a community dumpsters on the east side of City Park, and we are not responsible for the property if it gets damaged. That's what I got. Am I okay?
Okay.
No appliances. And no appliances, I'm sorry.
No appliances, hazard materials.
Hazardous material.
Okay.
Flood damage only.
If I might, is it okay if we change whoever made the motion and seconded it, if the first part of the motion is to reauthorize the emergency proclamation with the mayor's signature?
I'll amend that to the motion.
Yeah, I support that.
Okay. Anything else? Ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Ostrom. Aye.
Can I ask Mark a question?
Yes.
Mark, when are you thinking you can get them out there?
Tomorrow I can.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just shoot me a text when they're out and I'll get the word out. So,
So, yeah, but our media could get that word out as well. And- Yep, yep. Okay. I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss now? I mean, we covered everything on here that I'm seeing. Am I right?
I think so. I left it open-ended. Is there anything else that,
I guess maybe I'd like to open up one more time for opportunity for the public to just offer any comments that you feel we've missed something along the way. I would like to open that forum just for briefly, if somebody wants to address council at this point. Now would be your turn, your chance. Okay. Anything else from my council to the left?
oh, wait a minute. We've got two really important action items here. That's a old version of the
Oh,
agenda.
okay. Okay, very good. Okay, there we go. Item B is a resolution for urban renewal advancement of cost for the city incurred cost of flood and high wind recovery. Any comments there, Sam?
Thank you, Mayor. This initially seeks $50,000 for TIF eligible costs, hopefully to be reimbursed by FEMA. No guarantee. I've linked the latest urban renewal plan to the agenda. You can see the map on page 30. Really doesn't matter to folks in the audience, but it matters to Angie and I internally as we divide out, try to estimate the amount that will be eligible for TIF. If you look at our urban renewal area and the areas most impacted by the flooding, most of the impact really is in the urban renewal zone. So there may be more, but we believe $50,000 will be very helpful and allow us to pay bills. For now.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council? If not, I'll take a motion to approve that resolution.
So move.
Take one of those as support.
Support.
Any further opportunity for questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Snyder.
Right.
Hamel.
Aye.
Kent.
Aye.
All right, then the next item there is authorization for release of local option sales tax reserves for the city incurred costs of flood and high wind recovery. Comments there, Sam?
Also 50,000, because I don't have an attached resolution,
I'll make
the
the
term
motion.
50,000 should be in the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Kent.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Snyder.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Okay. Anything else from you?
I do, very briefly. I want to thank, well, there's a lot of people to thank, but I want to thank Wayne. Great partnership we had over the weekend, so thank you. And you say a lot less than I do, and so you're much better on Fox than me. So they asked me to do the interview, and I asked Wayne if he'd be willing to take it. Tanya, thank you for the Spanish translation videos that you did. They were well received, so very much appreciated. Getting a lot of likes on Facebook, although I usually don't count that sort of thing, but I appreciate what you did. Angie and Todd, thank you for all that you have done. I want to just thank the council and the previous council and Todd. When we built this wastewater plant that was finished in 2019, and the planning phase happened a few years before, it was planned, we planned out for 50 years, plus the engineer's recommendation for high flow events. Plus, Todd Ewell came along and said, and who else?
Dean.
Oh, and Dean, sorry, Dean. Todd and Dean came along and said, let's add 20% capacity on top of that. And to go from 800,000 gallons a day potentially millions, I was asked to not get into all the gallons because there's reports that need to be submitted, but if you add all the gallons together, it's 15 million gallons-ish that was generated in town, and that's truly epic. And we have a lot to be thankful for between that and Lewis and Clark. And while sitting here, I received a text from the city clerk's office in Cherokee, where I was before, and they're asking for some advice on some things, and they have a real mess there, and we need to support them in our surrounding communities however we can. Northwest Iowa is a small town, and we're all in this together. There's people that helped out over the weekend. I have family in Rock Valley and Hayward and Spencer and Cherokee, and there's a lot of people devastated. There's hundreds of homes in Northwest Iowa that are destroyed, and people don't have insurance. And I know what it's like to experience a major destruction with the fire that we had 2 years ago, but I had good insurance, and there was a lot of costs that weren't covered in my case. And I can just empathize and understand what people are going through, and we all need to remember that we're at the very beginning of this. This is going to go on for months. This is going to impact our visioning. This is going to impact our capital improvements planning, and we all need to work together, and hopefully the nerves won't fray too bad. I know Todd and I are going on very little sleep. Todd has even less sleep than I have had, but I want to thank everybody. This is a good place.
Okay. Oh. Yeah?
And I don't know, I like watching MacGyver. I think it's incredibly impressive what our Public Works and Fire Department did with the help of 3 surrounding communities to bring water back to NCC, the Sheldon Motel, and Trade Winds, and several homes. One of those homes had more than 10 people from Rock Valley that needed water. Thank you for the hard work that you did. It's not something that you had to do. If you'd said we can't do it, people would have understood. And that's going to go down as one of the most interesting and successful emergency public works projects, fire department projects ever. Thank you.
Okay. Now, council to my left. Any comments there?
Just thank you to everyone.
Just seeing all the departments come together and work for the good of the community, and everybody gave 110%. Proud of everybody.
Council to my right.
I would just echo, thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you just doesn't seem to really cover it. The dedication that I experienced Saturday morning in relationship to some true department and citizen leadership just goes with, it's just hard to explain how well and how effective that was. And I just want to, that was my early contribution to it. It was very light compared to everybody else's. You guys, you all carried the heavy load. But I think that the town needs to understand that the kind of people that we have on staff and in our departments and as neighbors. And remember that with incidences and events like this will pass. And we'll be all talking about it months later about remember what happened and everything else. But when it came down to brass tacks, people were there to address it. And you can't, thank you just doesn't cover that. That's dedication that comes from the heart and from the soul. And it just needs to be said. So I won't say thank you, but I will tell you, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
So we were on vacation last week and got word of this as we were coming home. So I'm on the phone dealing with texts and phone calls and whatnot. At one point, one of my children asked, do you think this meeting that they knew, they were aware of this meeting that had been planned, and they asked, do you think this is going to be one of the biggest meetings you've ever had to be in on? I thought about it a little bit, and I didn't know. I came into this meeting not knowing what to expect, seeing you all sitting here. I didn't know what the temperature in the room was going to be, whether some of you have brought pitchforks, but you've been very courteous. You've just been here to listen. You've offered comments, and I appreciate that. I could not be prouder to be the mayor of this community. And I thank each and every one of you, not only those sitting in the room, but those that call Sheldon home. The bright spots have come out time and time again. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I still move, so try and go home, get some sleep.
Yes, sir. And we
Motion
have
to adjourn.
so support. You made the motion, right? I'll take you as a support. Roll call, please.
Hamel.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
My night's far from being...